it really is no different to a lot of other countries around the world. India is obviously still developing, but at the same time, it's probably on the forefront in a lot of key areas compared to a lot of other countries around the world. I think the country and definitely the government has recognised that it needs to do a lot more to be recognised as one of the leaders in the global economy. Obviously, it is part of the global economy, and it is one of the leaders. But it's definitely looking at doing a range of other areas to be seen and to be recognised in the forefront of things like Digital India. I think it's probably one of the best initiatives ever. But if you compare that to a lot of the other countries around the world, not that many people are doing things like that. By the next 2 years, I think they've earmarked that 100 smart cities have been pretty much defined, or there's a list of 100 smart cities. That's a lot more than that's probably 99 more cities than most other countries have actually defined as a smart city. If you want to start to think about how they're trying to, digitalise the entire government as much as they possibly can, areas like that make India, very high on the agenda in terms of trying to do something differently from a cyber standpoint. But it's one of those things that, again, it's no different to a lot of other countries around the world, which is you need to be able to provide protection, privacy and security to everyone who lives in the country. I think it comes down to three things, and granted we are a technology provider, but I think it's also, everyone needs to also be looking at from a people, process and technology. I think when you look at India, yeah, sure, there could be areas of deficiency, but I think you need to look at it across the whole spectrum of all three of those. From a people standpoint, there's not a lot of skilled security professionals, as an example. There's obviously a lot of initiatives to turn around and say over the next couple of years, let's train 1 million people to be cybersecurity professionals. So you've definitely got that skill shortage, even though there's a lot of people who are obviously keen to work, and there's a lot of people that are going to universities in India. But then from a process standpoint, I think what we've done in the past also needs to be tweaked and changed into doing something a little bit differently. And technology has also evolved. And I think we need to make sure that we are constantly evolving the whole time to basically stay one step ahead of really keeping up with what's changing the environment. Areas, definitely from a security standpoint, I think critical infrastructure. I think the finance sector is definitely one to be targeted. Obviously that's where the money is, so that's where people are going to be targeting all the time. And then the other key areas is definitely going to be around telecommunications, energy, those types of industries. They're the big ones. And I think if you think about it from the perspective of, if that was to actually be knocked out due to a cyber incident of some sort, that has massive ramifications to the entire country. Telecommunications goes down, there's a problem. If the banking system was to go down for whatever reason, or there was meant to be some sort of a cyber attack, again, that's going to be a big challenge. So those industries are the ones that need to properly elevate their, security posture to try and reduce as much risk. And I think there are areas of improvement that definitely are needed in each one of those verticals. Key things. So from a value standpoint, our philosophy has always been one of prevention. Majority of the attacks that we see these days are considered to be known attacks. So we've built a platform over the past 8-9 years that we've started to share technology, really focused on preventing known types of attacks. And the other key piece is we also ensure that we can securely enable, whether it's public or private sector, to enable their users and applications to run inside their networks, whether it's their own networks or even in a cloud environment for any user and any device. And a big focus again is around that prevention piece. How do we prevent anything that's known? And if there is something that's unknown, how quickly can we turn that around to become a known threat and provide a mitigating strategy? So our value proposition is we believe wholeheartedly in trying to stop these attacks as quick as we possibly can. And I think India and many other countries around the world need to start thinking about how do we start to disseminate and share information around the attacks. So if I see something, I should be able to quickly turn around, tell you what it looks like, what it is, and then you go off and start to have a prevention and mitigating strategy to that. There are no laws in India, and for that matter in Asia Pacific, that really compel any organisation to really disclose that there's been a breach. To be frank, I don't really care about the breach per se. I don't really need to know that there's been a breach. What I would like to know is, how did an attack take place? What is the information? What were the indicators that say this is what the attack looks like? Because I want to be able to learn from that and defend my own environment. You know, breaches, it's a good learning point, but it doesn't necessarily mean I'm going to be safer because I know that someone else has been breached. I need to understand what was the attack itself. That's an issue. It's a hard one to really say from that point. But the way that we've designed our platform is, whether we are from our endpoint or our network capability today, either one of those systems effectively act as a sensor. And in my organisation, your organisation, all of our customers, so the 28,000 customers that we've got globally, are all acting as
25,000 customers.
28,000 globally.
20?
28.
Okay.
So today, what we can basically do is, if we see one person sees an attack, they can automatically share that with our threat intelligence cloud that we call Wildfire, that you can basically analyse that file. Today, we can basically do that in about 15 minutes. We can provide a fix to you. But not only to you who actually found it, we can also share that with the 8,000 other customers out there that are all sharing information in our threat intelligence cloud. Our threat intelligence cloud today is probably more than 2.5 times our nearest competitor. So we've got a lot of information that sits in our threat intelligence cloud. So we're trying to work as hard as we can to close that gap from 15 minutes down to single digits. So the moment I see it, I should be able to share that with every single other person out there that's connected to this threat intelligence cloud in real time and get a fix in a matter of minutes. Cross-vertical, there's not one single vertical that outweighs the other. I think from the last count we looked at, 13% was kind of the highest, I guess the highest that we had in each one of those verticals, so 13% share across each one of those. So there's not one to say that we're, 80% of our business comes from government. It's pretty much evenly spread across all the verticals that are out there. Whether it's government, whether it's banking and finance, telecommunications, education, we're effectively breaking down to about 13% would be the highest in each one. Our presence would be stronger in North America because we started off in North America. I think North America is probably a lot more mature compared to a lot of the other markets around the world as well. But we're now starting to see a lot of growth in each of the different geographies. In Asia Pacific,